Good evening, everybody, and welcome. Am I on? Hello, hello. Maybe I just blasted your ears. I hope not. Um, it is day 4 of the sumo, and some big matches today. Some interesting outcomes, some surprising outcomes. We'll go over who won and lost today, and look ahead to tomorrow, day 5, Thursday. But today is Wednesday, and lots on the Patreon to look at. I was able to get off work a little early because they're just prepping for sports day. They don't really need me around. Um, they would if they were like seventh or eighth graders. They're still sort of new to the whole idea. But my kids are 12th graders. They've done this lots of times, so they take care of themselves. It's one of the good things about being a homeroom teacher for that age level. Their last year of high school is they're generally self-sufficient. They just need some prodding and nudging at times in the right spots to make sure that they're keeping their eyes on the prize, especially my kids because they're in the IB program. All right. So where are we going to start? Let's share. Let's just jump right in. Okay. So starting out here on the page for absent Rikshi, nobody pulled out of the top two divisions today, so that's good. And so we can just jump right into the matches for day 4. We will look at the tournament leaders list. It's a little early, but we do have an emerging leaderboard, so we'll get to that. Let's jump down to Juryo real quick. Mita, who the profile was on Mita today, doing exceptionally well. Not a very tall reach. She had 172 centimeters, obviously a little bit light as he's pretty young guy, 24 years old, and he's new to the top two divisions, uh, making his debut in the Juryo division. And he can add weight as he goes along. But, he's obviously should be mindful of that considering his height. But yeah, just having a great tournament so far. And let's see who else is doing well. Tohakuru is at 3-1. Nabatame, another guy from the same stable as Mita. So these two guys undefeated in Juryo, down toward the bottom of Juryo, but doing well, and they're a stable mates with Roga, who's also having a good tournament. So that stable has a lot to celebrate at the moment, but it's early days. You don't want to get too ahead of yourself. Let's see what else we got. A bunch of Koto Eho. Okay, Koto Eho from Sarugatakebeya. Another really young guy, 22 years old, not even 22, 21, gonna be 22 in July. Japanese native, and it's been in Juryo since November of last year, and you know, got the nice 10-5 at J13, but then unfortunately when he got promoted, fair amount, up to J7, could only get a 7-8 in March. So they kept him at J7, but he's having a much better tournament. Although he did have a 3-0 start in March and then just kind of lost out toward, look at the end 6 days here. He only got one win out of 6 matches at the end part of March. So hopefully he can maintain a little bit better here in May and maybe find himself up toward J1, J2 in July. Okay, oops. Jump back in again. Who else is doing good? A lot of guys are 1-3, 2-2. And Matakayumi fought Takara Fuji in a battle of two guys who were mainstays of the top division for a long time. Both find themselves down in Juryo, and it was a quite a match. And then they had a Tori Naoshi, a redo, because they kind of both went out at the same time. And then even in the second match, they had to have a look at it because they thought maybe Matakayumi had touched Takara Fuji's top knot, but it wasn't the case. And so he did get the win to go to 2-2. And then Kusano got the win, J1 beating J3 Shirokuma. So he's looking very strong, other than that one blip of a loss. 3-1 now, Shirokuma at 2-2. All right. Jumping up to the top division, here we go. Kaio at Maegashira 16 just can't buy a win. He's 0-4 now. looks destined to be heading back down to Juryo, but we'll see. Asakura got the win. He needs them at M17, so he's now 3-1. Fujiseun came up from Juryo to fight Nishikigi, and Nishikigi's having a great tournament, a 4-0 start for the one of the older guys in the top division at what's that? He's 35 almost, or he'll be 35 in August. But having a good turn. Has he ever had that kind of a start? I mean, look at March when he was 3-12 at M10 and just had this terrible run. 4 wins in a row there. Terrible 5-10 in November. But then, he got the Kanto show and went 11-4 in September of last year. Nice string of wins there. Look at this. But then before that, again, 5-10. Look how many times he's gone 5-10. Look at this huge string of losses. But yeah, so he hasn't had a start this good in a long time. And so that's good for him. He'd love to secure that Kachikoshi early, considering he's an M16 and not have to worry so much about staying in the top division. Ryuden 2-2. Tochi Taikai goes to 3-1. Sanumi evens out at 2-2. Roga, speaking of Roga, 3-1 by beating Takanosho. Shishi having a lot of problems this tournament, starting 0-4. Another loss today to his fellow Maegashira 11 Endo. Endo undefeated and having a nice start at 4-0. Tommy Fuji gets his third win by beating Shodai. The former Ozeki is at 2-2. Ao Nishiki a third win by beating Meisei, who's now 2-2. Midori Fuji has yet to win, 0-4. He lost to Kim Bozon today. Hakuoho maintains his undefeated status with another win today against Onokatsu. Tobizaru's having a decent tournament, improves to 3-1 over Chirano Umi. Ura, just all kinds of problems. And 0-4 record for him right now. Oshoma was the winner today in their match. He's now 2-2. Also, Chiyoshoma 0-4. So these guys, they have to turn this around. They really don't want to get less than 5 wins in a tournament. It really makes you plummet down the Bansuke. So they got to find a way to get some wins, even if they can't get their Kachikoshi. They want to get some wins. Ichi Yamamoto now 2-2. Look at this, 0-4, 0-4, and Gonoyama 0-4. He lost again today to Tamawashi. The veterans now 2-2. Then we had, this was kind of an interesting match. Takeda Fuji against Wakataka Kage. Wakataka Kage has been a wrestler longer. He's got more experience. He was a former Sekewake before he got injured. And now he's currently at the rank of Komusubi, but I almost felt like he was the underdog in this match against Takeda Fuji, who's at a career high rank of Maegashira 4 this tournament. But he just had nothing to give against Wakataka Kage's attack, and he got the win fairly easily against Takeda Fuji. So both men are now 3-1. He's not on the undefeated board anymore. Komusubi Takayasu, perhaps just a little too high of a rank for him. He's now 1-3. He lost to Daisho today. No shade there though. Daisho is on a tear. He really wants to get that promotion. Knows what he has to do. Knows he's gonna have, he's got to fight Onosato. He's got to fight Hoshoru. He's got to fight Kotozakura. He's gonna have some tough matches in the second week. So he wants to get the wins as much as he can in the first week. Then the other Sekewake also got a win today. He's doing well at 3-1, beating Hirada Umi. Then we had what we thought would be the big match of the day, Onosato versus Oho. We were hoping for some good fireworks after Oho's really impressive start. 3 really good matches against and wins against the Yokozuna and Ozeki and a Sekewake. But he just hit a brick wall today, literally, in the Tachi-Hai against Onosato, and had nothing to offer, and it was a fairly easy win for the Ozeki, to be honest. So Onosato maintains his undefeated record at 4-0, and Oho first loss, and now at 3-1. Wakamoto Haru is another guy who has yet to win, 0-4 At M1, he lost to Kotozakura today. The Ozeki evening out at 2-2. And as much as we were like, or at least I was talking about like, oh, Kotozakura, he's only got one win and now he's got two. Oh, he's probably just going to be able to get Kachikoshi. I don't expect him to get 10 wins. And I was saying all this kind of stuff in my coverage. But now when you look at it, he has the same amount of wins as Hoshoryu. Because Hoshoryu lost today in the final match of the day to Abi and is now at 2-2. Uh, he looked fantastic day one, day two, Hoshoru, and not so good on day three, but it was a tough match. And then he just was flat out just bamboozled by Abi today and just fell to the clay. And it was not good. And it's the second Kimboshi he's already given out now. So I think he'll rebound. I don't know who he has tomorrow. We'll obviously look in a moment who he has on day five, but I think he'll rebound. And I'm not expecting him, to get less than 10 wins, to be honest. But I don't know how much he's going to be hunting for the cup this time. So we'll see. But Abi, that's his first win, and he's beaten Hoshoru now the last like four times they've met. Let's see. He lost to Hoshoru. No, so white is a win. Sorry, he beat Hoshoru on day one before Hoshoru pulled out of the March tournament. In January, he didn't fight Hoshoru. Maybe Hoshoru wasn't around. Okay. Hoshoru, he beat him in November, and he beat him in September. So the last one, two, three, four matches where they've actually fought each other on the dohyo, he's beaten the Yokozuna, the now Yokozuna, and that's he lost to him in back in July. That's the last time Abi lost to Hoshoru was July of last year. So he definitely can beat Hoshoru, and he proved so today. Still not having a great tournament. He's at 1-3, but it was a big win because the final match of the day you get all the sponsorship envelopes, and there's a lot this tournament. He got a Kimboshi because he's ranked at the Maegashira, and that's an annual stipend. And just, what a way to kind of kickstart your winnings. You've lost three in a row. You want to get a win, and you get it in dramatic fashion in the final match of the day. So good for Abi. Uh, Worrisome for Hoshoru. But we'll see, like I said, if he can bounce back tomorrow. Okay, so let's jump over to the leaderboard and just have a quick look. Like I said, it's a little too early, but we'll have a look. Tournament leaders. How many guys are at 4-0? Not too many. Five guys. One Ozeki, one Sekiwake. So it's good that we have some guys ranked highly that are in the lead. Daisho and Onosato. Then we have Hakuoho, Endo, and Nishikigi. So those are the five guys who are undefeated. And I had all of their matches on the channel today except Nishikigi. Down in Juryo, you got three guys who are undefeated, and you'll know that Kusano is not on that list because he has lost one so far. So it's two guys way down at the bottom of the Banzuke and Juryo, Nabatame and Mita, and then Koto Eiho is kind of in the middle at Juryo 7. Okay, and Enho is winning so far. Let's see. Yep, he won today over Chiyomaru, and he'll probably take Thursday off, maybe fight again Friday or Saturday. But he's at 2-0, and he's looking to get his Kachikoshi and go back up to Juryo maybe in July. At MS10, he probably has to get a 6-1 or a 7-0 to go all the way up to Juryo, depending on how the other people above him are doing. If he only gets like a 5-2 or a 4-3, he'll have to stay in Makushita one more time. But doing well. That's great to hear. Okay, so let's look at day 5. Tomorrow's Thursday. Should be home. It's sports day. Um, But like I said, we finish around 1:30 p.m. and then the kids can go home if you're a student. I don't know if they'll let us go home early. Sometimes when we have events like that, we have to stay till 5 p.m. like a normal work day. Sometimes they're like, okay, you've worked hard today. Go ahead, when you're finished with whatever you have to do, you can take off. So I might get to come home early and watch live sumo. I might have to stay till 5. I don't know. Okay. Sorry, let me take one more drink. Okay. Let's start in Juryo real quick. See, Mita's got Mitoru. Nabatame at 4-0 has Tohakuru at 3-1. That's a good matchup. Kotoeho at 4-0 has Owaka Ikari. Kusuno is not fighting in the final match of the day. He has J4 Hakuyozan in the second to last match. They're giving Mitakeumi the last match against Fuji Seiyun. Okay, so that's some Juryo action. There's still one guy from Juryo going up to fight in the top division, so we'll see who that is as we go up to the Makuuchi division. Tochitai Kai takes on Nishikigi, 3-1 versus 4-0, both toward the very bottom of the bonds case, so both want that win. That'll be a fun one. There's your Juryo three-man, Takara Fuji. Of course, Takara Fuji is a longtime veteran in his 30s and just finds himself down in Juryo. So no stranger to being in the top division. He's got Kaio tomorrow. Asakoru has Shonana Umi. Roga, Thomas Shoho, Tommy Fuji, Sadanoumi, Endo at 4-0 taking on Takanosho. Shishi going for his first win against Meisei. Midori Fuji going for his first win against Ao Nishiki, who's 3-1. Hakuoho tries to maintain his unbeaten record against Chirano Umi. Ura against Chiyoshima. So Ura Chiyoshima, they're both Maegashira 5, so it makes perfect sense. And both men are 0-4. So at least one of them will get a first win tomorrow. The crowd would love it if it's Ura. Abi has Takeda Fuji, two of the taller Rikishi in the business. Wakamoto Haru at 0-4 against Takayasu 1-3. Now we're into the Sanyaku ranked matches. Sekewake Kirishima has Komusubi Wakataka Kage. That's a fun matchup. Both men at 3-1. Daisho versus Oho. That's a fun match. So Oho's really kind of getting all the heavy hitters out of the way, one after another. Um, so by day 5, this is his day 5 match. He will have fought the Yokozuna, both Ozeki, and both Sekewake. And so the only people ranked above him he has left is to fight the two Komusubi. But yeah, he should have much smoother sailing in his second week, as it were, as far as his opponents. So yeah, it's a good test for Daisho. Has Daisho fought anybody ranked high? Nope, 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 nope. A Komusubi, but he's a Sekewake, so yeah, he hasn't fought. He'll fight the two Ozeki and the Yokozuna in the second week, Daisho. Kotozakura has Hirada Umi. Tamawashi, the veteran, taking on Ono Sato in the penultimate match. And Hoshoru, well, I'm sure they didn't do this just because of his loss today, but they've kind of lobbed him a softball in Gonoyama. Not that Gonoyama's a pushover and an easy win, but he's 0-4. He's struggling a bit this tournament. He's a Maegashira 2, so the Yokozuna should be able to bounce back and get a win tomorrow against Gonoyama. And that is your day 5 matchups. Okay, so I wanted to go and do a little bit of extra. So we're going to share, well, first of all, just over at Patreon, as always, I had a bunch of videos up today because I was able to come home about an hour early and watch live. I started off with the Kusuno match and then jumped in. This was a doubleheader video. Rogan Takanosho and somebody else, I can't remember. Another double feature with a Tommy Fuji Shodai and Ao Nishiki Meisei in that one. Hakuoho match, Wakatakage match against Takeda Fuji. Both Sekewake matches in one video. Then your last three matches of the day: the Onosato match, the Kotozakura match, and the Hoshoru match, all over there on Patreon. So come on over and check it out. Okay, we finished, the contest is now closed, and I just wanted to have one other look here. Now we had 673 enter, that's including me, so 672 actual people that can win, and Onosato, the overwhelming favorite, but 51% to 41%. A lot of you have faith in Hoshoru to do well, and we'll see as we go forward. For the Sekewake Komusubi slot, a little more evenly spread out. Daisho getting just a little bit more than Kirishima. And then the third would be Wakutakage, and bringing up the rear would be Takayasu. And a huge chunk of people going for Takeda Fuji for M1 through M4. Of course, Oho is doing really well, and he got 100 people, or 14.9%, against Takeda Fuji's 325 people. And Wakamoto Haru, unfortunately, all the people that pick Wakamoto Haru are suffering right now with his 0 wins so far for their team. Abi getting a fair amount, 7%, etc. Down in M5 through M8, the big favorite was Hakuoho. Onokatsu getting a fair amount. Kimbozan. Then Ura, he's a fan favorite, especially amongst the Japanese, but not so much for the contest. Only 43 of you picking him for your team. And rightfully so, I think, so far in this Basho at least. Aonishiki, youngster, brand new, but getting a lot of love. Almost half of you, 49%, picking him for your team in the M9 through M12 group, with the next biggest group going to Atami Fuji and Shishi, Midori Fuji and Meisei. And then a real just sort of like all over the place bag for the bottom of the Bansuke. Roga is the top vote getter at 27.5%. Next would be Toki Hayate, Asakoru, who's this? Tochitaikai, Ryuden, Kaio is actually more than Ryuden. He's at 8.5%. Nishikigi, who, if you pick Nishikigi, you're getting rewarded right now. So yeah, some dominant numbers, and then a fair spread, and like I said, a pretty even split between Onosato and Hoshoru. So that'll be a deciding factor in the contest, I'm sure. And then if we go over to the standings, which I will put the link down in the description if you want to check out where you are, Norseman, all alone in first place right now out of 673 people. Every single one of his members of his team is undefeated except Oho. So he's got 23 points. 24 would be the maximum he could have. So that's an amazing start for him. And then only three people in second place with 22 points. Derek, Mishdog, and Wacky Moto Harry, which I'm assuming is a Wakamoto Haru uh, play on words there. And all of them, doing really well. A lot of them picking Nishikigi to get into that top area there. Then a bunch of people tied for third place, 39 of you with 21 points. And I am in this fourth place group of 62 people. So there I am. I'm usually at the top. So my team doing well at 20 points. Everybody has at least 3 wins in my team, and a few people have 4, Hakuoho and Onosato. So 50 of you are doing better than me right now. I'm in 51st place, as it were, but I'm tied with 60 other people who have the same 20 points right now. And then on down the now, when I was just like, I'm like, nobody really pulled out significant with an injury, so nobody's got 0 because of somebody pulled out, but a lot of 0-4 records. So I was just curious, what's the team that's down at the bottom of all of this, at 670th place or whatever. So as we scroll down, uh, I did find one interesting entry, and here it is at the very bottom. So 6 points, these three people, Oren, Scott, Barry, and last place attempt. And as you can see, they have Wakamoto Haru on their team. This guy's got Ura. This guy's got Shishi. Abi Takayasu with one win. Koto Zakura instead of and Hoshoru, who now, like I said, both have only two wins in that category. And so you can see a lot of the people down here have some of these uh, people, Chiyoshoma, Midori Fuji, Shishi with 0 wins. But Koto Shoho is the one guy who pulled out of the tournament, can't get wins. So I'm wondering if last place attempt, which is such a great name, like he's specifically set up a team that he thinks will do poorly to get the last place in the contest. So we'll have to keep an eye on that now. Uh, but my guess is I give you kind of a day to adjust in case anybody pulls out, and he purposefully I didn't take Koto Shoho off the drop down menu, so he picked him, um, and I'm assuming knowing that he had pulled out of the tournament. So a little bit of shenanigans there, but we'll see if he can actually get last place, and if he does, I might have to send him a prize just for that funness right there. And some of the other people down here not doing great. Dude, where's my washi? I do like some of the names you guys come up with. Some of them are quite fun. Some of them are just very very plain. Number one Hoshoru fan. There's nothing wrong with that. That's awesome. Um, and some of these names, it's like I've seen that name before. Some of you have been doing the contest for a long time, and I recognize your names, and you keep coming back and keep trying. Norberto, either I know Norberto, like I've met him in real life. I don't know why that name sticks out to me, or he's just won before. Maybe I know him from that. Tochinoshin's butt bandage is one that I've always enjoyed seeing, and then he's done really well sometimes. I say he, it could be a woman. I don't know if the butt bandage has a gender. Um, so there you go, and on and on and on. So yeah, 670 of you. So good luck to all of you for joining the contest. I hope your team does well and you enjoy rooting for them during the 15 days. So yeah, tomorrow should be normal. Friday, like I said, I'm going to probably put up highlights Saturday morning, and then regular coverage Saturday, and then Sunday, the 18th, Nakabi, the middle day, day 8. After that, the Sumo Summary Show that I'll do will be a live stream with a live chat, and if you're interested in that, I'll put up more about that and links to that. So, and I'll probably announce on that live chat who's going to win the giveaway. If you're a channel member here on YouTube or a Patreon member, you had a chance at this giveaway. You had to be one of those two things. Kind of a perk for those people supporting the channel. And uh, yes, I'll look at the drop down. I'll look at the entry page and try to make some determination who's going to get some of the fun stuff. Okay, that's about it for me today, guys. Thank you so much for coming by, and I'll see you tomorrow for day 5. Take care. Bye.